Hi,
Hello,
I'm Kimberly,
I'm Michael,
and welcome to Real Takes.
and Movie Break.
And today we are reviewing the film Blink
Twice.
Twice. Not once, but twice.
The title is Blink Twice.
Yes.
She added on the not once, but twice.
So this is our spoiler review. So if you don't want spoilers, click the link in the description. If you want spoilers, here you go. So we'll start with what we liked, what we didn't like, and if we would recommend this movie to go see in theaters.
I liked the use of the memory, the way the memory, like, because you are, as you're watching it, you're like, is this a memory? There's a lot of techniques they're using to kind of indicate that it's a memory that you're seeing. I like the Polaroids. It's a throwback to Memento. Some of those things. They take the phones away, of course. They do some cliche things. I like that it's at an island. They're sort of trapped there, kind of like in the menu. I was trying to go for sort of a concept that is interesting.
So I liked the general idea. I love the idea of these women who are trapped in this awful situation where their memory is being erased and they slowly start to remember the trauma and work together to try to escape. I liked that this is sort of reflecting on the Me Too movement, Epstein's Island, and it is relevant to modern circumstances. And I like that the female characters don't victimize themselves. Like, they don't operate like they're victims. Like, they come out strong at the end. So I like that aspect of it. I like the art direction. I like most of the acting. I thought most of the actors were good. I especially liked the best friend, what's her name, who was also in Hitman. I can't remember her name, but I liked her a lot. And I do like the idea of Zoe Kravitz, directing her own. This is like her first film that she directed.
The thing that causes them to lose their memory is this flower that turns into a perfume that they get in these little red bags, and they spray themselves with perfume. They lose their memory. And then because they're losing their memory continuously, the men on the island, led by Channing Tatum, Christian Slater, Haley Joel Osment, and whoever else. The other guy, I can't remember his name. Kyle MacLachlan is the therapist. They're all have them at this island with this sort of continuous. We're having a party on the billionaire's island, and then at night they're raping them, and then they take this drug, or they're ingesting this drug, and then they lose their memory. So they don't remember getting raped, and then they just continuously do it over and over and over. And as soon as that came into the picture, I was like, wait a second. You're just making up a drug that's going to cause you... Because there is roofies.
Yeah, there is such a thing called roofies, but it doesn't work like that.
No, and so you're automatic. Like, I'm like, okay, so when do you lose the memory? How do you know that they're going to lose all of that memory for sure? Et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, the girl gets snake bit, and the venom acts as the counter to the memory.
And that part was very silly to me because, there just happens to be snakes on the island with this antidote to the drug. And the drug itself is just such a fantasy. Like, that drug doesn't exist.
Right. So that's the issue that I'm getting at, is that because they have this idea and they want to execute this idea, they have to make up a fake drug. Yeah. And a fake sort of set of rules about the drug and how the snake venom acts as the antidote to the drug, and how the main character starts to realize what's been happening, and she starts to remember all the time she was raped and all the horrible trauma.
Wait, can I ask you something? Are you having a good time?
I'm having a great time. What was I talking about? No, so like they use these kind of little cues, these little things to get us to like realize, okay, he's checking in to see if she's having a great time still.
To see if she's remembering kind of test her. Any of the trauma.
He's sort of almost being like a human lie detector. He can kind of tell if she... And then they keep having these meals over and over again. There's a lot of repetition. And then, of course, the film functions as kind of like the movie The Hangover, where the main characters are starting to remember things that happened that we didn't see.
Yeah, because the main character... It's kind of silly because, like, this lady that's working on this tech billionaire's island, she's working there, and then she creates this snake venom potion to give to our protagonist to try to help her remember.
You mean the servant woman?
The servant woman. She's the one who like introduces the snake venom
Yeah.
to her. So my question is, why is this lady trying to help her and nobody else?
I couldn't even get to the point where I could ask that question because I'm fixated on, wait a minute, what is this drug? What is
How
this?
does it work?
So you're introducing a fantastical element in order for us to sort of buy the story. So what you're assuming at that point is that we already are bought in and we like this. If we aren't, and we're kind of annoyed at certain things in terms of how the movie has gone thus far, and I was very annoyed by the time we start to learn that they've lost their memory. And the reason I was annoyed was because we weren't really given a whole lot of context about who these people are or why we should really kind of care about them. We sort of see them go from being cocktail waitresses to being drug addicts on this island, and they're just sitting around drinking all day long.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, you get what you asked for. You're going to this island and you're drinking all that. What do you?
Right. Like, as I was watching this, I was thinking, well, the main characters are kind of dumb.
It's
right?
a stupid
it's like,
thing.
Why? I would never put myself in that situation.
Right.
I would never. I've had plenty of serving jobs. If some tech millionaire invited me to a remote island, someone I just met, know nothing about, I would say, no, thank you, because that you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation. So to me, I'm like, I'm not really on their side. I'm like, that's kind of a dumb choice on their part.
Right.
And they're willingly giving up their cell phones. And then it cuts to all these random, then they're just like drinking and partying. And then the protagonist's defense is like, well, I'm somebody here. I'm not invisible. Why? Just because some dude is attracted to you? Like, that's how you value your self-worth? Because this guy that you think is hot is attracted to you, you feel worthy?
So the main character is
that's
just
lame.
She's only operating.
She's not that likable.
Right, but like the people that made this film, they think that we're gonna look at her and go, oh my god, isn't that vulnerable that she is now only being seen for the first time.
So I didn't like that it's vilifying like white men, as if it's sort of implying that all white men are like this. And all white men are not like this. Some of them are, I'm sure. You know, some powerful men. I mean, Epstein Island is a thing, but it's just vilifying. He's a white man. Granted, he's not a billionaire, but he's not like that. So it's
a hard point to articulate. Yeah. But I think what you're getting at is that basically all of the guys in this movie, Christian Slater, Haley Joel Osment, Channing Tatum, the other guy, I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
They're all...
Why do all the male white guys have to be evil? Why can't there be one character that's good?
Even the therapist. Even the therapist, he's like,
yeah.
So she really won't remember this? And he's like, no, she'll forget it.
Yeah.
And he's like, incredible. That's incredible. So it's sort of implying that even the therapist who has this high standard of ethics that a therapist is supposed to operate under, even this therapist, this man is... white man is gonna just be like, oh, okay, well, she won't remember it.
Yeah.
Like, so that actually is a stretch because I don't think that that there are many people that are actually this way. Now you could say, oh, well, these are just really rich and powerful guys, and that's how they are when they're really rich and powerful. Well, I mean, I guess there's the Epstein Island stuff, and so you can make that case. But I don't like, even in that, like, I would much rather just watch a movie that's a realistic version of that world,
right? Not
this, which is sort of like it's actors portraying one-dimensional villainy.
All they care about is like raping women,
and then if the women find out, like psychopaths, they're just gonna kill them,
right?
Like immediately kill. Like, so I'm like, okay. Well, you guys aren't just rapists. You guys are like Michael Myers,
yeah,
right? Like, because the girl starts to remember, and they just immediately kill her. So it's like,
right,
you're doing some of the most horrifying stuff, and then at the end, remember when the girls start to regain the memory?
Yeah.
One of the guys is like, oh my god, they figured it out. We're gonna go to hell. Like that was such a stupid line.
Yeah.
Like, who would say that? And if that's something that a person like that would say, then it seems like they probably would have
gone along.
They
with
have
it
a guilty conscience.
Yeah, so it's like they're trying to portray these characters as one-dimensional psychopaths, but then later on they start feeling like somewhat guilty. Also, like, the character of Slater wasn't fully explained or fully developed. It starts out where he's apologizing for some transgression, but it's very vague. We never find out what that transgression is. He alludes to some trauma he experienced, and I do like some of the dialogue about repressed memory and trauma, but it's still very vague. It doesn't go very deep, and it doesn't fully explain his character, why he is the way he is, and it doesn't fully explain our lead.
Yeah.
And the main thing I really didn't like about the movie is the ending. The lead basically becomes the antagonist. She takes on his role, and in my opinion, two wrongs don't make a right.
It's a very cynical ending.
Yeah, it's a very cynical ending where she's like, okay, well, you're manipulating me, now I'm going to manipulate you the same way you manipulated me. So instead of being the bigger person, she just becomes she's doing the exact harmful things that were done to her, and instead of rising above and being the bigger person. So I didn't like that ending.
So this wasn't when they go low, we go high. This was when they go low, we're going to go even lower.
Yeah.
And that's it's very cynical.
Yeah.
And also, like, the character arc that she goes through, to me, is she goes from being a desperate person to being, by the end of the film, a very vindictive,
vengeful
power broker. And so that arc doesn't make sense because it's actually not. She becomes detached from the person that we've kind of gotten to know by the end. So we do kind of get to know her by the end, and we are, like, at least rooting for her to survive.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like, oh man, like, sometimes I watch a movie like this and I'm like, please just kill the lead, please.
I don't think that
like,
way,
but the other thing I was going to say is that Channing Tatum, a lot of people are saying Channing Tatum's his performance is fantastic, really great in this movie. I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so, because as I was watching it, I was like, okay, I see what he's doing. I see where this character's going. I kind of see there's something underneath what he's presenting at the beginning. And then by the end of the film, there's sort of this kind of like they're trying to get at this sort of like more sympathetic side to him by the end.
Yeah.
But they don't get there at all. And there are other actors that could have played this part. I think could have played this part is Josh Hartnett from the movie we just saw, Trap.
You think he could have?
He could have played this part because he can be goofy and likable and kind of like, oh, he's a billionaire, but he's
charming.
Maybe he really likes her. Fool us, and then by the end of the film, we realize that, like,
he's broken. He's
really, really, really broken, and maybe there's something more to this person that we can actually, oh my god, like,
see more of a human in it.
Yeah, I think he could have played that part actually.
The part where he was just yelling, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry," like.
No.
Like the way that he was directed or the way that he chose to deliver those lines, he was just saying I'm sorry the same way over and over and over again.
Slightly different, but it was, you know what it was?
It was just one emotion. He was just angry and sarcastic.
His performance was incomplete. And it was also, his performance was informed a little bit by his own fame as an actor, and we know him from Magic Mike and stuff like that. So now we're seeing him in this kind of a part, and it's sort of like, oh, interesting. But to me, he doesn't quite go far enough. He's still kind of like in that, I don't want to do anything that's going to make me too much of a, like, demonized, like to hurt his brand or something, is what I felt like. There was a little bit of a, like, I'm not going to go too far. If, like, Matthew McConaughey had played this.
Oh, I'm sure he could have taken it really far, because he's not worried about his...
Or Ed Norton.
Yeah.
Or someone like that who's like, who's not really... They're really great actors, and they're gonna really shock you.
And granted, I don't think Channing Tatum did a bad job, but I agree with you that he could have done so much more with the character, and it just felt kind of one-dimensional. The other thing I really didn't like is that they didn't explain how they got off the island, and they didn't explain what happened to the other girl on the island that we cared about. The girl from Hitman, her character, I think her name was Sarah, right? They didn't explain what happened to her. She just looks at our lead and, are you sure you want to do this? And then she's just gone. We never know what happened to her.
I'm sure she gets set up.
Yeah,
nice.
but they don't explain how they actually get off the island. And then what I really didn't like is those flashbacks that suggest, oh, she was at the island before.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
She was at the island before, and what, they just let her live and they sent her back into the real world. But this time, they're not doing that.
Yep.
Like, that part made no sense.
Also, if you go back, the film from this year, Furiosa, at the very end, sort of the ending with Chris Hemsworth and Furiosa, there's kind of a parallel, and sort of the girl boss is going to get the guy at the end.
Yeah.
She doesn't kill him. She makes him part of the tree,
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Well, with that movie, Hemsworth goes... He goes nuts with that performance, and it's way better than what Channing Tatum is doing here.
It's way more compelling,
and he was sympathetic at the end of the film. He could have done that role.
Yeah, we actually almost like Chris Hemsworth in that movie, even though he's the villain. But I don't like the Channing Tatum character at all.
No, he's just bad.
I don't see layers or dimension to his character. I just see that he's straight up evil.
Yeah.
And so, I feel like this movie had potential. It's a good idea. And I like that it is yay feminism, yay me too, but it's so heavy-handed, so on the nose. And also, like you were saying, there's no reason why every single male character has to be portrayed as evil. Why not just have one male character that's a little less evil?
They could have had one guy who was like, guys, we should not do this.
That's more realistic,
That absolutely would be more realistic.
And this is like a common trend I'm seeing in movies lately that are yay feminism, which I'm all about, but like...
there's a guy that helps. There's a guy that
male character has
there's
to
a guy
be
that
evil.
can help them.
Yeah,
They could have but no, we can't have that. It's
1 out of 5. I probably give it like 2.5.
I give it 2.
So, chances are you've already seen the movie if you're watching this spoiler review. I'm curious what you think about this movie. It does sort of leave an impact, and I do like that it's making me think and make my wheels turn. So I like that part about it. So comment below. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you think we were right, if we were wrong. I'd love to hear from you. And let us know if you have any more recommendations of movies you'd like us to review or react to. And in the meantime, stay real.
And have good takes.